Hello garden friends, this is Lisa from Wandering Creek Acres, and I thought today I would give you a tour of my Amish / sun garden that you can see in the background. If you are new to my channel, I live in north central Illinois along the Wisconsin border, and I own a 35-acre hobby farm. So welcome if you're new, and please come with me on a garden tour. As you can see along this garden, I have a hedge of peonies in bloom. So I started this garden in 2019. I added a few shrubs in the middle, and we'll take a look at them. And then I just worked my way from the left to right as I've populated this garden with perennials. So there are still areas that I'm working on. You plant things and sometimes things survive, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just don't look the way that you want it to, so you just pull things out, move them someplace else, and add something in its place. So let's take a walk through. Let's start over here. So as you enter my garden on the right, I have a peony there that you see that's a coral color, and I accidentally planted two different roots in this area. Okay, not really accidental, but I had planted, I believe I first started with a coral sunset, and it grew one year and then just died. It didn't come up the next year, so I thought it actually had died. So that year I bought another one, and I bought coral charm. I didn't realize they were two different varieties. It just had the word coral in the name, and that's what I went with. As you can see, there were 3 blooms here. I've been on vacation visiting my family in New York for the last week and a half or so, and I did not see those first 2 bloom. So only this 3rd one. So I'll show you this one. If you know what this is, whether it's coral sunset or coral charm, let me know. I'd appreciate it. But isn't she gorgeous? I love the pink in the middle. Look at that. And as you can see, I can tell this one is the same variety. There, that one's the same variety. But you can tell that one is not. It doesn't have those pink tips. Very cool. So if you know which one this is, please drop in a comment and let me know. I would appreciate it. Now along this right side, as you enter this garden, nothing is in bloom currently. There was a huge amount of iris there for quite a few weeks, and they have died. Next to bloom along this wall is tiger lilies. As you can see, they're starting to bud up, and once the tiger lilies are done, there's a whole row of blood red daylilies that are gorgeous. So they'll bloom after that. So I try to make my garden sort of a succession blooms and have blooms all season long. So prior to the iris blooming, down along the front, you can actually see right through here, is I had a whole row of the same type of daffodil. It was either Fortune or it is Fortissimo, one of those. And just gorgeous. Just love that. So that's what's growing on that side. You know what? Let's walk around the outer edge, and then we'll come through and we'll walk around the inner edge. This is really just like a half moon shape. Not very creative, but it was nice. It was good enough for one of my first gardens I've ever planted. Oh, don't mind that cup. I dropped it the last time I was walking through here. So the purple flowers or pink flowers at the bottom right, or I think when this video gets posted it'll be on the left, but those is back to the Fuchsia Salvia. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek on this side. It's the same as these. So we will come back and we'll take a look at those, and then we'll also listen to all of the honeybees that are enjoying them. Along this front here is my Hermelo stashies, so they won't bloom for a while. They grow a tall purple spike like. I have a Dreamville iris that's still blooming with a peony in the background. Beautiful pink. And there's more iris. All of my, look at the number of blossoms that were on those poppies. So all my poppies are pretty much done. Those poppies came from my mother-in-law's garden. Well, okay, the original couple that I planted, and now they've just been reseeding ever since. Not much going on around this back currently. There were rows of iris back here, and I've got a yellow Stella de Oro type lily that lines right here the back of this part of the garden, because on the other side where you see the mulch, I consider that my herb garden, even though the only herb that's in there is right down in there, along with a milkweed, is a sage bush. So earlier this was totally in bloom with iris, but there's some liatrices in here, some daylilies. I've got some Shasta daisies that will bloom. I just had to move. I moved those there last year. They just weren't doing really well where they were, and I've got like two or three plants that I just moved pieces of, and they look great. So as we come through here, let's take a look at this. So all of these plants here are my Sweet William. They look fabulous this year. Just gorgeous. Let's take a quick, we'll get a little closer. Is that beautiful? I love those. My mom always had them when I was little. Loved them then, still love them now. Oh, and back behind the Sweet William is a penstemon. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. I added those because when we were at my husband and I were at a garden nursery, he saw those and he's like, I love those, plant some in your garden. So it took a couple years for them to even look like that. So it took a while. I think there's actually one plant right down there that just really hasn't done much. And that's typically what they had looked like the first year. That might even be a weed. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes. Here I had a huge amount of iris. And back behind there is more peonies. So my dad and my mom came to live with me. My mom had Alzheimer's and passed away, I believe it was 2014. And my dad just needed some help, so he came to live with us. And ever since then, he's just continued to live with us, which is fine. So there's our peonies, and he brought back to that comment, and why I mentioned it, because he brought me a bunch of peony roots from his house. So I just poked them all different places in my garden, and I didn't even know what colors they were when he brought them. So that's why you'll see like no rhyme or rhythm. And like this one is both white and red, because I didn't even realize I had put two different ones in there. Let's come along here. Look at that lemon meringue baptisia. Plant is also known by false indigo. So they are currently probably at least almost 5 feet wide. Beautiful, gorgeous. And there's a second one there. I originally had a bench here, so those sort of flank the back of the bench. And then right there in the middle, that is a double orange tiger lily. So they will bloom later. And then in the front, I struggled trying to figure out what to do here. I have columbine, and for a while, these columbine were all back in here, and then they ended up reseeding, and they've been moving their way over this way. So And that's just the way columbine do it. Yes, and then I have some lilies. I got some lily bulbs on sale, so I just poked them in there. So I don't even remember what variety. I have them noted somewhere. I have the Millennium Allium, and if they ever tell you that it's not, it won't reseed, that is incorrect. It reseeds all over my garden. These are seedlings from when I bought one plant. So that was like the first plant, and ever since I've gotten seedlings, and I just keep moving it along. I divided it one for a little bit, and then it just keeps moving along as I find seedlings in my garden. It'll be in my paths against, like, this is my water feature, which I do not have set up yet. I'll find them back there with the other weeds, and then I just move them to where I want it, and then I just create, you know, more little plants for myself. Back in here, I'm still earlier, about a couple weeks ago, I moved a salvia into this corner, and I tucked it in there thinking it would bloom before this baptisia got big, but I can see it's not quite correct. There are a few weeds in there, don't mind them, but I do have their name somewhere, so if you're interested, let me know and I'll post the name. So this salvia, I poked a piece here. I only bought one, and these are pieces from that. I've got one there, one there, one there, one there, and I guess that's it. So they'll get nice and bushy after a while. They'll be great. I need to get in here and clean up some of the old daffodil. Let's see what else. Oh, let's take a look at this peony. I love this peony. This is like your old style peony, I think. I don't know. I love it. Look at this one. I mean, who can not have a white one this gorgeous? It's like pure white. Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, it's tucked in there with the pink one. Does happen. All right, let's come around here. Look at this. We'll take a look at these peonies next. I do not know the name of this, unfortunately. A couple years ago, it bloomed for the first time, and I was shocked to see that I had a peony that looked like this. I thought for sure it was just going to be one of your old-fashioned, either a light pink, dark pink, or white, but it's gorgeous. And it's on very sturdy stems. Here I put no basket or anything under this one. It just holds itself up on its own. It is just gorgeous. Give you an idea. Size, so they're not huge, but they are beautiful. And like this one's not bad. Sorry for my shadow. Look at that. Aren't they gorgeous? I love them. I need to someday maybe take some pieces of that and propagate it. You know, someday my daughter's gonna have a house and she'll want to plant some different plants in her garden, and I'd love to be able to have an area where I have all these plants ready for her and I just to dig up and move it and make her an instant garden. That is one of my goals of gardening. So can't wait there. Here is in this garden, as I was saying, I had started off with a couple shrubs. I have a little devil 9-bark, a Jubilee, an amber Jubilee 9-bark, and thus that's where you get that beautiful, beautiful amber color. And look at it is in bloom. It looks gorgeous this year. This is a dwarf blue Arctic a willow. I guess it is a willow. And I did a little trimming earlier this year. I have literally trimmed it all the way down to the ground. And it's in my foot. Sorry about that. So I've trimmed it all the way to the ground, and it will grow. It'll grow huge. It's only supposed to be like 6 feet. So I did this whole thing about, okay, how far apart does it need to be from all of my other plants, make sure it's planted correctly, and then like already it's over 5 feet and it'll grow like another, I bet you'd go twice as big as that as if I let it. So just crazy. Here is a lily that when that is in bloom, please come back and watch my channel. You will be amazed of what that lily looks like. It's called like an LA lily. Got it at Home Depot once. In the middle here is, well, I guess along this edge is more daylilies, not yet blooming. And I have some coneflowers. It is supposed to just be 2 varieties, but I had added a powwow berry one in here. I did not know that they would reseed. I thought they didn't. And so a lot of I have a red firebird variety, and then I have a big kahuna, which is orange. And so that's all that's supposed to be in here, but it's starting to be taken over by the purple ones. And so a lot of times people think that their coneflowers are reverting to the purple ones. What's happening is the purple is your native or is the mother variety that the hybrids were based on, and they're a stronger stock. So what happens is you will still have your, like my red one, I'll still have my red one in there, but the purple ones will be more aggressive. And if you don't pull your purple ones out, move them to a different area, then after a while it'll take over that area and you'll be just left with the purple ones. So I need to get on it this year. Perfect year. I retired at the beginning of May. So that's one of my goals, is to keep these gardens neat looking and making sure they are set up the way I want them set up. All right, let's come over here. So here, as you can see, there is more of the Back to the Fuchsia Salvia. More lilies. I'm going to cross my fingers on this. Should knock on wood. I have not ever seen one of those red lily beetles, and I'm hoping I never do. But I know people have them, and then they just struggle with keeping the lilies healthy. So let's hope that does not happen. Back behind here is the Little Devil 9-bark, which is in bloom. With all the drought and dry that we had last year, and even the spring, we're still considered in a drought situation. Maybe after that 2.5 inches, we might not be. I'd have to take a look. But a lot of the edges died off of this one. All right, here is the Back to the Fuchsia Salvia. We're gonna come here. Let's see if we can watch some of the honeybees. So if you like feeding our pollinators, I strongly recommend Back to the Fuchsia Salvia from Proven Winners. It has been blooming for at least 3 weeks now. So, and you can actually, at like the end of the year, you can once this blooming is done, excuse me, you can trim it off and it will rebloom. Or like here, I created a new plant. I just cut a piece off of one of the other ones and I poked it right there. So it's not as healthy as the other ones because it's not as established. So we're gonna come back here. Hopefully this isn't too dark. The sun's out and I think it's now washing out my garden. Look at how big this peony is. Isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous, gorgeous. So, love me some peonies. So, I hope you enjoyed I hope you enjoyed this tour of my son slash Amish garden. And I wish everybody a wonderful day and happy gardening. Hi garden friends. I hope you enjoyed that tour of my son slash Amish garden. And if you did, please like and subscribe. And I would love to have you drop me a comment below. I hope everybody is having a great day, and may all your wandering take you to many wonderful places. Bye for now.